Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Grassroots Racer. Before I get on to tonight's guest, I'd like to welcome a new partner to the team, Todd Newman Builders, who are supporting my racing in 2023. Not only are these guys local to the Bendigo area, they've built some spectacular homes with their award-winning builders, craftsmanship, quality, and great customer service, and that's what sets them apart from the rest. If you're looking for your dream home or need some renovations done, check them out on their website or on Facebook, or even give them a call. But I can't thank them enough for supporting me, and we'll have to see where we can add this onto the backdrop behind me because we've got the hat, but oh god, nice voice crack. We got the hat, but we need to put it on the backdrop somewhere. So we'll have to scooch everyone around a little bit. But yeah, obviously we appreciate it so much. But now on to tonight's guest, who has grown up around motorsport, watching his cousin, uncle, and granddad race. And I have no doubt in the future you'll be seeing a lot more of him as he currently runs in the Hyundai XL series. And I can't not wait to find out a bit more about his journey. So, a big welcome to Jett. Thanks for speaking to me tonight, Jett. As I mentioned before, you have quite a connection with motorsport through your cousin Clay, Uncle Stephen, grandfather Jim Richards. So, what motivated you to get into motorsport as well?
Well, I've always loved motorsport. From obviously my family's history in it and being around and growing up around a racetrack like my entire childhood. So always loved it and I used to do go-karting and stuff, but just had to stop because of other commitments like footy and stuff. So once I was old enough and could buy the car myself, I thought it was about time that I could learn the track from the other side of the fence rather than just watching everyone else.
Yeah, and you said you grew up around the racetrack a lot. So, do you have any favorite memories from, watching your uncle, for an example?
Uh, I I do. It was when I was a bit older, when I was 14. My grandma and grandfather took me up to Bathurst. And that was in 2018, and it was just me out of my family that went up, and I was lucky enough. My auntie and Priya and my cousin Clay let me sit in the garage with the Triple Eight team, and Uncle Steve and Craig Lowndes ended up winning that year. So that was a pretty good memory because got to actually experience it with the team and stuff. So that's probably my favorite memory.
Yeah, definitely. It was a hard fought race, and to see two veterans of the sport at the time come through and win, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it was awesome. The whole weekend was about them being the oldest pairing out there and saying if they've still got it, and yeah, they just proved them all wrong. So it's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, you can always count on Lounsey for consistency, and Steve, he's pretty much the same. He's very consistent and fast behind the wheel.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So you mentioned you did some karting when you started off. Uh, how involved were you in karting? Did you get pretty serious, or did you only do a few club days every now and again?
So we tried to be serious, but at the time, I absolutely loved racing, but I just didn't have the competitive nature that what I've got now that I'm older. So I was still a little bit ginger on like with pushing it and stuff. So I wasn't up there or anything, but we did state rounds and stuff like that because we'd just go and race at the same meetings that Clay and Uncle Steve are at. So we're at some pretty alright meetings, and I've got some programs that I race with some cool people that have gone on to do cool stuff. But I was never as competitive as what I should have been.
Yeah. So you did a little bit of karting. So you said you didn't do too well, but did you ever have any one-off great races?
There was a few club days where like I think I got a few podiums, I got a few second places and a few P3s. Never got a race win. And then as soon as it went to state level, it was back to like mid to rear field. But the club days were good fun. I remember them just being chill. But yeah, just I wish I had a bit more of that aggression, just where I could push it a bit more. But that's all right.
Yeah, man. I understand. But when I was little, I was obviously just heavily involved in motorsport and it only. Even though a lot of my family grew up with soccer, cricket, footy, they all did different stuff, and I chose racing, so it was a bit of a shock. But yeah, obviously it's one of them things that everyone has their own sort of taste. Did you ever
Yeah.
get to race at Bendigo Kart Club?
No, I didn't. It was a cool track. I actually started up in Albury Wodonga because I was living up there or near there at the time. Um, and then once I moved back down to Melbourne, it was just at like at the main tracks like Geelong, Oakley, Pod Road, and Pucker. They were the usual tracks. But I remember after I stopped racing and I always wished I could get to some tracks like Bendigo and cool tracks like that.
Yeah. Packer was a good track, but yeah, I never had any luck there. I think it was when I was about 8 years old in 2016. I I was there racing and I was leading by like 2 seconds in one of the cups that they had, the junior sprint, and then my throttle cable snapped on me, so that sent me to
Oh
the back.
no.
And then I lost third place in the state championship because I left the door open and four people got past me. So like
Oh no.
one of them pushed me wide, and then the others went through.
Oh no, that's
So
frustrating.
yeah, I never had too much luck
it's a
there, but
it's a good track though.
mm,
That was one of my favorites. That and Oakley were my two
yeah,
favorite tracks.
yeah. Oakley was hard on the neck, I tell you.
Yeah, and the ribs too. I remember always pulling up pretty sore from there.
Mm. And yeah, obviously they've now changed the circuit entirely, so it'd be good to see what that's like one day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Have you personally seen the changes or not really?
I've seen footage, but I haven't been to the actual
Yeah.
track in a while. But I've seen photos and some footage. And it looks alright. Like the changes that they've done look pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. I don't think it'll have the same feel that it used to though, because do remember it being very heavy on the neck and the ribs.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think so. It was a cool track. That's probably one of the reasons why I liked it, just because it had basically everything on it. So I really liked it like that.
Yeah. I just remember it was really bad for the stink and the flies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
But you moved into cars a little bit later on. Like you said, you bought your own car. So
Yep.
XLs was the first series that you got involved with?
Yep. Yeah, we chose XLs because we knew a couple people through the family, and some of Clay's mates and one of my old schoolmates, who raced XLs, and a couple of them still do now. But so just got in contact with them and asked them what it was about, and then Clay was racing with his mate in the XL Enduro, so we went and watched that, and just after watching that and seeing what the actual category was like and what the racing's like, we decided that that'd be a good starting point. And the usual motorsport side, it's one of the cheapest and most affordable forms of racing and categories that you can get into. So we just thought that'd be a good place to start.
Yeah. And obviously it's a cheap category and stuff like that. It's also the cars are quite simple, so it'd be sort of in a way for those who are mechanically minded, it'd be quite easy to work on. But when you bought your car, did you buy it race ready or did you have to do a lot of work yourself?
No, so yeah, we bought it as a road car, and the original engine had it was like 300,000 kilometers on or something like that on it, and we ran that for that engine stayed in the car and had just a basic service until just before I went to Bathurst early this year. So we raced, did the enduro with it, and it held up. But yeah, me and Dad just in the garage just tinkered away and built it. We obviously had a lot of help through contacts and stuff from Grandpa and my uncle, so that helped a lot. But yeah, it was just me and Dad tinkering away in the garage.
Yeah, and I guess what have been some of the challenges of racing Hyundai Excel? Because not only is it a fast class with a lot of go-karters who would have been racing right up until jumping in where you had a little bit of a break. Uh, yeah, what are some huge challenges?
Yeah, that was one of the biggest downsides that I'd noticed. I'd done some local karting, but nothing proper. And then did a few test days. So once I jumped in and started racing, I realized like, yeah, these blokes are pretty quick. And another big thing that we're finding a little bit difficult is that a lot of people build the cars from themselves, and few people can do a bit more or know a bit more about them. So they're able to do a bit more. So even though there are rules to it, it's still the cars are really different. So that's a big struggle. But with this new one, we'll hopefully build it better than the last one. We can be right up there.
Yeah. And what has been your favourite track to race at so far?
Well, it's got to be the obvious
Yeah.
answer. Bathurst. That was quite incredible actually. Like those first few laps, I can still picture them right now. And just after with the family history there and seeing my uncle do stuff and watching all videos of what my grandpa was doing there and stuff. So that was really cool. But and another track that I've really enjoyed was actually Tail and Bend. And even though I had a pretty big accident there, it's still probably outside of Bathurst my favourite track that I've raced on, just because it had everything. It was fast, it was tight, there was some commitment sections, and it was uphill and downhill. So I really enjoyed that track.
Yeah, Bathurst has so many great qualities to it. And I'm probably one of the few in motorsport who haven't had the opportunity to race there, and I do plan on at some point. They just need to bring Formula V to the mountain.
Yeah, that's it. I'm sure one day you'll be out there soon, man.
Although I heard when you race at Bathurst, it's not too much track time in case well, like if someone else stacks it, that you don't get another chance to go back out. They just call off your session and you got to wait for the next one.
Yeah, so because there was 62 cars up there for this year's XL Challenge, so we were really lucky. We had, just being XLs, we had a big warning at the start of the weekend saying if anything happens, we'll just pull you from the weekend. Like if you do anything stupid or if you end the session for a silly reason. And we were the only category to not have any yellow flags or anything for practice and quali. And then in all the races, so I had a shifter cable break on lap one of race one, which put me at the back got a DNF and put me at the back of the field. And then for the two races, so for race 2 and race 3, I only had 5 green lap races, which was supposed to be 12. So we just had no time, but you kind of expected that going up there with a field of 62 XLs. Knew it was going to be chaos.
I just remember when we had big fields like that in go-karting, like we did in the Nationals, they do, I think they have sometimes done it. They separate the groups into odds and evens. And then they do a bit of a knockout. So by the end of the weekend, only 40 start or only 30 start.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think because it was a invitational event, it was just whoever's there is running. And then Bathurst, obviously, it's a big enough track to find space and to fit that many cars, which is good. But yeah, it was a downside because to do a warm-up lap, it would have taken 6 or 7 minutes with that size field. So we would literally roll out from the dummy grid under the Armour Bridge and go straight to the grid. And that was our 500-meter warm-up.
Yeah. Well, it's obviously a pretty cool experience to race at Bathurst. But we talked about some challenges earlier, and you did mention your crash. But have you had any setbacks that you faced in your career, and how badly have they affected you?
Well, I had my very first race. It was at Winton, and it was when the trucks were there. So greasy track, first ever time in a field, and lap 1. Turn 3 of my first ever race, I spun and ended up getting collected, and I think we did a radiator or something. But we had I think by the time I'd come back from the medical centre, I think there was about 15 different people, like other drivers and dads and stuff, working on the car, and we ended up racing for the rest of the weekend. So besides that, it's been pretty good so far. It's only been short. It's only been just over a year, but yeah, it's been pretty good besides that.
That's pretty awesome having such a great community around you. But I didn't really want to talk about it too much. But for those who don't know, Jett actually did have a pretty big crash at Tail and Bend. So in the description, I'll link a link to his GoFundMe page because he's nearly back on track. But all the help that he can get is really appreciated. So I'll just thought I'd let him know. I'll drop that in the description.
Thank you.
Yeah. What category do you reckon you might move into after you finish your next sales?
The one that we'd love to go to would be Toyota 86s, only because I just think it's great racing. It's on the supercars calendar, and I've been to the track helping Clay and Uncle Steve when Clay's been racing, and it just seems so cool. And I love the category and the tracks they get to race on, and the
Yeah.
events are pretty good. So it's a bit harder now that they've got the new car coming in because costs just go up. But
Mm.
that would be the next step. Or anything from 86s above. I'd love to do anything like that. But I'd like to stay in tin tops rather than going to open wheelers.
Yeah. Nah, open wheelers is definitely something that's very tricky. And to be honest, any form of racing is an art. So once you learn tin tops, it's very different to an open wheeler because I know tin top drivers are also, it's a small thing, but they're not used to having their visor closed. Some of them like to have their visor open to try and get as much air as possible.
Yeah.
And it's really simple, like stuff that we in open wheelers we really can't see with that low in the car that we
Yeah.
struggle. But yeah, it also depends in the tin tops what seat you have.
Yeah, that's it. If you got the wings or not.
Do you run wings?
Yeah. I got the wings on in my car. Just it feels a lot more comfortable like that. And after watching the footage of my crash in South Australia, I'm glad I went with that because it probably saved me from a very, very sore neck.
Yeah. Do you know how far your belt stretched, or you don't know that?
Well, not too. We've got all new harnesses and new seat and new helmet and stuff like that for the new car. But I'm not too sure how much they stretched. But by the time I'd actually landed, I noticed that they were a bit loose. Not bad loose, like I wasn't going to fall out or anything. But for to roll 6 times and to hit the ground that hard and only have
Mm.
the belts come the tiniest bit loose, I was very lucky and real impressed by the seatbelt.
Yeah. No, it's the safety gear these days is absolutely incredible. But do you, just random question, do you use the Simpson hybrid or do you just use the regular Hans?
I just use the regular Hans. It's more comfortable, I reckon,
Yeah.
and I just like it more, I reckon. So yeah.
Do you know anyone who runs the hybrid and have they got any opinions on it?
Yeah, my cousin Clay actually runs the hybrid, and I really talk to him about it, but
Mm.
he seems to like it. So yeah, so I'm not too sure what it's like or anything. I've never tried it on or anything, so I might have to soon. But at the moment, I like the Hans.
You said you'd like to move to 86s, and you're still quite young. So do you have an ultimate goal you're racing?
Yeah, so the ultimate goal would be supercars. Obviously, supercars championship would be really cool. Just to follow in the footsteps of my uncle and grandfather. And just to get to that top level of Australian motorsport, I'd really like that. And then another thing that if the opportunity ever came up, it'd be really cool to go over to Europe and become a Porsche
Oh
factory
yeah.
driver. I reckon that'd be awesome. So that's a bit of a extended goal, but at the moment, supercars would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much you follow the Porsches, but we actually had our own Aussie, Harry Jones, go over there. Um,
Yep.
he was doing all right, and then he had yeah, I know, I think he had a few setbacks.
Yeah.
Who else we have? We had Ryder Quinn, I think, and
Did he go over?
I'm pretty sure he did. I'm pretty sure they're not racing it anymore because he damaged his car quite badly.
Yeah.
I'll double
I know.
check that, but
I know Tom Sargent's over there now for McElrea in the I think it's the American Career Cup, and he's absolutely dominating over there.
yeah, right, yeah. Tom Sargent, he was racing Formula Ford not too long ago.
Yep, he won the Australian Championship, and I think that's he after that he went to Cup Challenge, and then from there he's gotten that drive with McElrea.
he was really like promising. Like I remember watching him thinking this guy is going to be quick.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
he really dominated XLs, to be honest.
yeah, yeah.
But you know the Porsches are definitely quite a different car. Do you think you'd maybe try and start in Australia, or do you think if you were going to do it, you'd try go straight there?
Definitely try start in Australia. Uh, I just think it'd be easier. Um, just to get a drive in something like Cup Challenge or Career Cup would be uh, amazing. But and then just to do something there and to have that opportunity if you win those championships to go over there, that'd be cool. But first, got to perform in the XL before getting into them.
Yeah, it's one of them things. You know, you gotta think of the now. And obviously you've got a lot of talent, and you know you'll find your ground once you get this new car back together. But I did quickly find a statement from Ryder. He said due to substantial damage from round two, the 101 local legends Porsche 992 car is no longer to compete in the Porsche or in any Porsche Carrera Cup Championship worldwide. So
Yeah, right.
he's put a message there saying thanks for everything and whatnot. But yeah, it's really sad to see that one of our own Aussies is no longer able to compete.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, you know, when you obviously got a lot of motorsport history, what's your favorite thing to sit down and watch?
I love watching any Bathurst classics, but my family has a little tradition that my dad kind of created just when my uncle was still racing and my grandfather, but we do this thing where we can't watch any Bathurst videos or anything until a certain point of the year when it's coming up to Bathurst, just to get us in the mood, sort of thing. Um, so when I get to watch a Bathurst video, it's pretty exciting. I just still run with that. It's just been what I've known since I was young. And any old Australian Touring Car Championship videos of my grandpa doing his
Yeah,
thing. Me and Dad love sitting on the couch and watching them.
yeah, yeah. Good old Jim.
Yeah,
I I um I ended up watching one day. I was on YouTube and I ended up finding just an old video of them running around Sandown. It was Dick Johnson in his Sierra was
yeah,
doing something I can't remember, but yeah, they are quite fun races to watch.
yeah, yeah. They're awesome. It's completely different racing to what we watch now, but
Mm.
it's really cool watching what they were like.
Yeah, and do you ever do any sim racing?
I I do have a sim. It's a little bit dodgy. It's just an Xbox sim, but it's actually got the seat that we've put on it is from my grandpa's old BMW 635, so one of the JPS ones. And he just had that as like a spare seat. But he gave it to me a few years ago, so he stuck it on the sim. And but I don't do anything online, just project cars and stuff like that, just to do laps, but nothing too exciting.
Yeah, Project Cars is still fun though.
Yeah, yeah, bloody oath.
Yeah, I've my sim's not uh world class, but it's still very nice. It's got an older wheel on it, so it's got like a G. I'm looking at it. It's got a G27 wheel and pedals. It's like a full seat on a metal, like,
Oh yeah, like with the frame.
yeah, with the frame. And then yeah, I got a computer, so I do a bit of iRacing and stuff.
Yeah, awesome. That's I want to get that. I want to get that set up soon, but just got to save up.
Yeah, well, it's obviously hard when you're racing. I barely got that.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Hopefully soon, because it'd be good to actually drive on the track that I race on.
Yeah,
but but I'm pretty lucky. I got Tom Randall who helps me, and me and Clay go down to his sim at Dream Simulation, and he does a bit of driver coaching with me
yeah.
there, and I get to learn all the new tracks that I'm going on. So that's helpful, but that's the only proper proper simulator stuff that I do.
I remember I got a funny story. I asked Tom Randall. I found his Discord and messaged him and whatnot, and I said, I'd like to do some driver training on the sim. And it was during COVID and stuff. And I said, look, I can't really come down to Melbourne. And he said, look, I'm in New South Wales anyway. He said, but I've got an Xbox controller here and a computer. I said, do you want to do it like this? And I said, why not? So we ended up loading up iRacing, and he was running around Bathurst in a Mustang. and I followed him.
Yeah.
And we did some driver coaching while he was on the Xbox controller. He was still pretty good. He still showed me up.
That's awesome. That's really cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
But yeah, I was on the call. He said, "Hold on, let me just find the cable and let me plug it all up."
On the controller, that's a good effort.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he remembers, but yeah, it was funny anyway.
He probably would. He's such a nice bloke.
Oh yeah,
We love Tom.
definitely. Yeah. I actually got to meet him at Sandown at State Series. So he was
Yep.
racing his oh, what is it?
Oh, the Saab, is it?
Yeah, the Saab, yeah. And yeah, he was racing that at Sandown and breaking records and whatnot. And yeah, the
Yeah,
drivers
that thing's a weapon.
yeah, driver's briefing. I said, "Hey Tom, he was probably like bluffing, but I said to him, do you remember when I did training with you and whatnot?" I told him my name and stuff. He's like, "Oh yeah." So yeah, it was pretty cool to see him. One of my mates actually works with him as well, so it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, awesome. That's so cool. Yeah,
Yeah. Um,
all tied in.
yeah. But who's been your biggest supporter and helps motivate to keep you going?
Oh, that's tough. I'd I can't, I can't really narrow it down to one person.
Mm,
Um, it's obviously my family, like so supportive. Dad's always keen to work on the car and always help out wherever he can, and mum's really supportive just for me. And really good to have just before a race meeting and always making sure I'm all right. And my sister and her boyfriend are really good. And my brother, he loves getting on the headset and trying to help out and trying to get involved. So any of them and then like literally anyone who's just helps out or sends a message, I just want to try to get some results for them so I can give back.
yeah. I heard you say your brother gets on the headset and tries to help.
Yeah. Well, he he's not as into cars and racing as
Mm,
what me or Clay are, but now that I'm racing, he's starting to get more into it, and he'll ask what's happening on the supercars, or want to try to help out with tire pressures, or like talking the wheel nuts or something like that. So he's wanting to get more involved and learn, which is good. But yeah, he he's not as into it as us, but he still loves it.
All right, I got a better question for you then. All right, if
Okay.
you're driving and you need someone to really help coach you, spot you, or whatnot, who do you want on the headset from who you know?
Out of everyone or out of my family?
Well, out of your crew, who goes with you?
Um, I'd have to say my dad, only because he's usually on the headset.
Yeah.
And he's really good. He now, after a year of racing, he knows like when I want to be spoke to, or like what I like, what updates I like hearing, and stuff like that. And so he's really good like that. But then every now and then, if Will, my sister's boyfriend, or my brother Zane, if they're on the headset, I'll hear something from them like "good job, Jetty," or just something little. So it's pretty cool. I'd probably say my dad.
Yeah. And when you get back on track, what does the rest of the season look like for you?
So we were trying to. It was a little bit unrealistic, but we're trying to get to around at Calder Park, which is mid August, and that's for the club championship. But I want to do a test day before we get racing, and we're still not sure if the car's actually going to be ready by then. So um, there's a round in September, but we're not going to do that one. So it'll just be testing throughout September, and then my first race back will actually be round 2 of nationals at Sydney Motorsport Park, and that'll be I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it's got a night race in it. Um, so that'll be really cool because I've never been to Sydney, and
Yeah.
Clay said it's a cool track, and night racing would be good. And then besides that, it's the last round of nationals at Calder at the end of the year, and the XL Enduro
Yeah.
in at the end of October. So yeah, only a few more events, but lots of track time and test days will be done just to nail this car and to get me back up.
Are you located in Melbourne?
Yeah, yeah. In the
So
just in the eastern part near the Yarra Valley.
yeah. I was gonna say, Calder Park every second week have got a test day on 250. That's all you need.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. I actually did the last one. Yeah, so it's pretty cool
What,
if you
what was
want
the
to.
track like? Was the track cool?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Too boring?
Nah, it's always got you doing something. There were a few XL guys there. Couldn't tell you who, to be honest, but
No.
yeah, lots of them I think were doing driver changes and stuff and whatever. So
Yeah, yeah.
a lot of enduros practice, but very
Yep.
bumpy. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's new surfaces everywhere. So it's
So it's a bit, yeah.
shaping up to be a good track though.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, it'll be good to once they start racing there, I reckon. It'll hopefully it's done up just a bit more and freshened up, and but it looks like it'll be cool, like good for when they start racing.
Yeah. And is there anyone else you'd like to mention or thank that sponsor your race?
Yeah, all my sponsors and everyone who's helped out, like you said before, there's the GoFundMe that Matt Tani made for me after my incident, and anyone who's put in money into that, or anyone who's sent me money or just sent me messages, just thank you, and obviously all my sponsors, because without them I wouldn't be able to race. So yeah, I appreciate them so much and real thankful for them. So yeah, thanks
Yeah.
guys.
Well, part of the show is if you want to help out your partners, you can. So be free to name them if you want. If you got them off the top of your head.
Yeah, yeah. I got EHFJ, Evan Hitchcock Fine Jewelry, Woods Environmental Service, ID Land, Val Yarra, Accurate Art, and Mick Webb Performance Engines. Yeah, all those guys who helped me out at the start of the season. And also Penrite. I'm lucky enough to be a Penrite ambassador this year. And they've been real good and got me doing some cool stuff. So big thanks to them too. But yeah, everyone who's helped me, thank you.
Cool. And where can people find you on social media if they want to keep track of when the car gets back together and you're racing?
Yeah, so I've got an Instagram page which is just jett.blumeris.motorsport or jett.blumeris22, and then Facebook is the same as my Instagram page. It's just jett.blumeris.motorsport. And as well I've got TikTok where it's every now and then I'll post post a bit of a highlight video, but I'm not as active on that. But it's mainly Facebook and Instagram where you'll see all the updates and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for speaking to me tonight, Jet. All the best for getting back on track. And if the GoFundMe page is still going, I hope lots of people can head over there and support you because we would love to see you back on the track soon. For anyone else racing this weekend, remember to drive fast and take chances safely, of course. So thank you so much, Jet. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man.
Cool.